Welcome to Campus. I'm Alan Shimp, and this is Campus Classic Movies. Today we're talking about Blackboard Jungle and To Sir with Love. I want to discuss two movies this time because, at first glance, they seem to have a lot in common, but they really are quite different. First of all, they're both films about new teachers facing disaffected youths in inner-city classrooms, and both movies are based on novels. Both films have battle-worn secondary characters that warn of the challenges of teaching in that environment. The question in both films is whether the rookie teacher will prevail over the untamed students, or be chased from the school. Both films feature an important theme song. Rock Around the Clock from Blackboard Jungle was not the first rock and roll song, as some believe, and it wasn't even the first rock and roll hit. But, with the success of the film, it brought rock and roll into the mainstream. The hit song To Sir with Love is featured throughout the soundtrack of that movie, and Lulu and the Mindbenders also perform in the film. The museum montage scene is particularly intriguing. Montages had been used traditionally to show the passage of time, often with spinning newspaper headlines or trains or planes crossing a map. Sometimes they were used as Eisenstein did to juxtapose ideas, and the Beatles used silly montage scenes with music in Hard Day's Night and Help. But this montage seems to do all three. It's supported by the music, but it also seems to show a passage of time, and you get a sense of the students maturing. Music montages and split-screen editing became a bit of a fad in the late 60s. The following year, the Boston Strangler, the Thomas Crown Affair, and Woodstock would make great use of the same ideas, but soon the techniques became cliched. Blackboard Jungle and To Sir with Love also portray teen rebellion. I suppose it could be said that teenagers have been rebellious since the beginning of time, and there have always been rebellious teens in movies, but Blackboard Jungle stands in contrast to the idyllic reputation of the 1950s. Baby boomers would have been quite young when that film came out, but by the time To Sir with Love arrived 12 years later, the peak baby boomers were in high school and college. Surely their parents, now in their 40s, were concerned how the critical mass of that age group would shape the world. This is reflected in both movies as a single member of the older generation has to face down a room full of teens. Another similarity is the presence of Sidney Poitier. He's a student in the first film and the teacher in the second, but he pulls off both roles brilliantly. Surely the filmmakers were making a statement about race by having the African-American student ultimately act with reason, while a white student becomes the savage in the Blackboard Jungle. In To Sir with Love, Sidney Poitier's character has an internal struggle to maintain composure, but it is clear that he has mastered that as a survival technique. Of course, there are big differences in the two films. Blackboard Jungle takes place in an unnamed American city, and To Sir with Love takes place in the East End of London. Blackboard Jungle depicts an all-boys reform school, and To Sir with Love has a mixed classroom. Both films were technically made while the Hays Code was still in force. The Hays Code was the motion picture production code that set moral standards for films. Blackboard Jungle seems very constrained by the code. It plays out like an allegorical morality tale, and were it not for the intimidating countenance of Vic Morrow and the cool attitude of Poitier, it might be hard to take the film seriously. By the time To Sir with Love was made, the Hays Code had become rather ineffectual. In fact, the following year it would be scrapped altogether. Still, certain moral standards remained in place. For example, while certainly implied, they never explicitly say what it is burning in the fireplace. The language is quite tame by today's standards, and the most violent scene is when Sir cuts his hand on a can. Blackboard Jungle is really about the fight to tame juvenile delinquents. The students are adversaries who, by and large, acquiesce to their teacher. It is the students who grow the most in this film. In To Sir with Love, it is Sir who grows the most. He learns to love and respect the class and treat them as the adults they are. I think it is noteworthy that the Blackboard Jungle, set in the idyllic 1950s, is a darker cautionary tale, while To Sir with Love, set in the turbulent 1960s, is a hopeful story of peace, love, and understanding.